Yeah, first of all, Joey, just how confident are you that the game with Peterborough will go ahead as scheduled?
A lot more confident than we have been in recent weeks. I think it's Barton, something crazy happening, which we've obviously got to account for in them at the moment. The game should go ahead, and we're looking forward to it. It's been a long time since that 4-2 victory over Rochdale. It feels like it was last year, but it does feel a lot longer than just our last game away.
So in terms of availability, I mean, you said last week you were down to one available defender. Has that situation improved now?
Yeah, I mean, we're still not, none of the, guys, Connor Taylor and Alfie Kilgore, I think are going to be available to play in the game Saturday. It just comes a little bit too soon for them with two different types of injuries. But we have got a couple of other bodies back, and as I say, we were down to one defender at the pre-match stage of the last fixture, the Leyton Orient fixture. So it hasn't been ideal, but again, we're not the only club. It seems to have affected pretty much everybody over the pyramid at varying times.
Are there still some players recovering from COVID?
Yeah. So we've still got some players who are obviously on a period out of the training ground because of the protocols. But thankfully, it seems to have gone round pretty much everybody. From the vaccinated to the unvaccinated, it's pretty much touched every single person, and every single person in a different way. Some have been relatively mild, sore throat. And obviously we've had other extremes of that where they have been really, really poorly, and thankfully we've got everybody through it up until this point, safe as we can. We haven't had any, as we did with the Delta, we haven't had any kind of long COVID. We had a couple of guys who had the Delta variant, and they were really, really affected for well over a month. It was still affecting them long after the the actual period of it. So fortunately, at this moment in time with Omicron, it's been relatively mild. So fingers crossed it remains that way, and we can get it behind us and cracking on with the rest of the season.
Yeah, I very much echo those thoughts. 28 days is an awful long time without a competitive game of football. How concerned are you just about the players' fitness going into the game on Saturday?
Yeah, look, it's two ways of looking at it really. I mean, being an Englishman and playing in the Premier League most of my career, it's not unusual to keep going through Christmas, and it's a very, very competitive, congested period for the modern football player, well, for any football player. But spending time abroad on the continent, so I was used to a winter break. Used to it. I lived through one, so it has echoes of that. It feels to me like we've almost gone through what would be a kind of winter break, for the European clubs. So it's not ideal because our lads are used to playing that fixture program. So it will affect us, but fortunately for us, Peterborough have suffered a similar fate. They've almost mirrored us in terms of games missed. So it's been a disruptive period for everybody. It's the FA Cup. We were all but dead and buried at Oxford in the replay, and the lads done incredible to get themselves back in a tie and go on and win it. We then had a hard-fought game against Sutton at home to get to this stage, and you're in the third round of the FA Cup, and I think we have as fair a chance as Peterborough, albeit we play a championship level opposition. But no pressure on the lads. Go and enjoy it. Go and enjoy the cup competition, and it gives us a springboard then into Hartlepool next Saturday, which is the bread and butter. The FA Cup's great. We want to have a great run in it. Hopefully we can progress and win the game and see what's beyond that. But with the layoff that we've had, as you say, 28 days between games, you've got to be realistic. And, for me, I want my players to go out and enjoy the game. They've earned the right to be here. As I say, we've overcome Oxford in an incredible game at the Mem. The revenue it's raised and the the momentum we've gotten from the competition by giving 2 good performances against a really good League One side in Oxford, and obviously beating Sutton, who were in our own division, who were yet to play, but have made a great start and are sitting in the playoff position. So it's given us a lot of confidence. It's given us a chance to look at players. And again, we want to give a good account of ourselves and use that as a springboard for momentum in the league campaign.
Yeah, you will be underdogs because you're facing a championship side, but on the flip side, their priority is going to be staying in the championship this season. I saw Plymouth beat them in the League Cup 4-0 earlier this season. How do you assess the challenge where presumably Johnson Clark-Harris may well face his former club up front?
They're a really good side. Been fortunate enough to kind of compete with Peterborough for most of my managerial career. We were in the playoffs the year they missed out on the points per game. I thought they were very, very harshly done to in that moment. We competed with them the year before and gone out, like they were kind of in and around the same space with the guys there when Steve Evans was there, when Darren's obviously come back in and they've been on an upward trajectory. They went up the year afterwards. They kind of had that axe to grind that they were harshly done to on the points per game, and they used that as a great springboard to mount another successful campaign. And obviously that time around it rewarded them, and they got into the championship. And they've got a great business model. I think always buy players. They always speculate on players that they can turn a profit on, and they tend to do really, really well with the front side of the team. I always think they build almost like Brentford in a way on a lesser scale, but they always build a team that amplifies the attacking qualities of players and then gives them a chance to capitalize on that from a financial standpoint. So I think a lot of clubs at our level could use the insights of Peterborough to move their clubs forward, and I've got to look at it as if they can get into the championship, then I think they set a lot of the bar for a lot of similar size, similar resource clubs to say, okay, well, if Peterborough can get there, and we've seen Barton and so on and so forth do it in certain years, they were a good yardstick. And I think for us as a football club, they're a club that we should aspire to follow into those top echelons of League One consistently, and then when you get a good cycle, get sides into the championship. Their challenge will be, as you rightly point out, is staying in there. But they're competitive in a tough league.
And just finally, in terms of incomings and outgoings, Ryan Loft's been added to the squad this week. He can't play tomorrow. Mark Hughes has joined Plymouth. Where are we at now with more incomings or more outgoings?
Yeah, look, we've got a little bit of early business done, and I think for us, the identification of a front player who can give us something different to what we've got in the building was key. Obviously, getting the right quality in the January window with the right age and at the right price is very, very difficult. And the Ryan Loft one for me is, a no-brainer for the football club. I think the ability to move on it as quick as we did, the ability to get it wrapped up as quick as we did with all the moving parts of a modern day kind of transfer, I think it is enormous, credit to the guys behind the scenes. And, if there was any indicator of a kind of regime change, I think that's a key one. I mean, chalk and cheese when you compare the last 2 January windows. I mean, I wasn't here for the entirety of the last one, but the fact that a centre forward was not on the shopping list became a problem down the track, and clearly identified a position. And with as I say, with the guys behind the club, behind the scenes, Tom Gorringe and Eddie Geno, superb in terms of identifying a target and executing on that to give us maximum impact in the January market. And there's a couple of things that are out there moving, but at this moment in time, I'm really, really happy with what we've got. May add 1 or 2, may lose 1 or 2, but pretty much, real belief in the squad. We've got lads returning to fitness. We've got some good players coming back on the grass now, albeit, maybe a week and 2 weeks before they featured in the match day squads, but real good field growing. Big Anthony Jacola back on the grass, making saves again, and we all know how well Belly's done. So that gives us a bit of competition in that place. It'll allow us hopefully to get young Jed Ward some competitive minutes, because we really need them to continue his progression. So real good signs. Josh Grant back on the grass, Alfie Kilgore, Connor Taylor, Alex Rodman back out there, Leon Clark back running around. So really good signs added into obviously signing Ryan and getting that focal point to the front of the team, which I think all of the front side of our team will benefit from, because they've all been doing a sterling job at different times, doing different things, but we've really craved a focal point, a spearhead to the attack.